Hello there. You're welcome to the Global Tutors virtual class. My name is Adelowo Ademola. I will be your English language instructor. Today, we will be discussing very important issues with regard to English language. For today's class, we will be considering a couple of common mistakes, blunders, or errors that we often make in English language. Please follow me. Yes, the first error or blunder I will want us to correct this moment is the expression check off. Now, most times we hear people say, my mother, my uncle, the governor, the president has given me a check of 1,000 naira. This is inappropriate. Why? Because the check itself is not money. Rather, the check is a means through which you get money. So rather than say somebody gave you a check of 100,000, you say he gave me a check for 100,000. Therefore, you have to correct the preposition. Wrong. Appropriate. So it is a check for so amount. Now, secondly, a lot of times when you want to discuss somebody or a group of people who can achieve what they set out to achieve, we often hear people call them goal getters. No, this is inappropriate. A person who can achieve a set target is a goal getter. Goal getter. Therefore, goal getter is wrong. Rather, it is goal getter. Example, the new governor is an established goal getter, not goal getter. Correction number 3. Oftentimes you hear people say something like this: the government should endeavor to pay workers' salaries as at when due. It is so commonly used that people don't know it is wrong. Now, the expression as at when due is inappropriate. Why? The simple thing is there are two elements involved in this expression: as and when. Therefore, rather than say workers' salaries should be paid as at when due, you will say workers' salaries should be paid as and when due. How do I mean? Now, pay workers as due means pay them the due amount. Don't underpay them. If a worker is to be paid a certain amount, let's say 20,000, 40,000, if you pay him 35,000, you have not paid him as due. Then the second one, pay them when due. That is, the actual time the salaries are supposed to be paid should not be breached. If they are to be paid on the second day of the month, the third day of the month, pay them when due. So when you now combine the two, it becomes as and when due, not as at when due. Next correction. A lot of times we hear people say, oh, people like Dangote are stinkingly rich. The truth of the matter is there's nothing like stinkingly rich. Now, when somebody's riches gets to the point where it becomes offensive, or where people begin to see him as being counter. Now, you find out that what you are supposed to say here is, you say, Dangote is stinking rich. That's the correct expression. You don't say somebody is stinkingly rich. Rather, you say he is stinking rich. That is, he is so rich that money begins to stink out of his body. Next correction. A lot of times when you're making reference to something, or probably when you are in a jocular mood, like we're just joking, where we're actually having a kind of hearty discussion, but we're not serious. So at some point, you just want to change the topic and you want to sound serious. Most time people will say, "Oh no, 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 jokes apart, jokes apart. Let us settle this matter. Jokes apart. Let us handle this matter. Jokes apart." No, the actual expression is joking apart. You're not supposed to say jokes apart. What do I mean by this? Now, naturally, when I am not serious, I will say I am joking. I wouldn't say I am joke. Fine. So if you think I am joking, that apart, that's why we say joking apart. That is, I am not joking this time around. Please note. Now, another correction. When somebody walks up to an establishment in search of employment, a lot of times we hear the personnel manager or probably the interviewer asking him, "Do you have any working experience?" Sorry, your experience does not work. The correct expression is work experience, not working experience. So if I have worked in an establishment for 10 years, you would say I have a 10-year work experience, not working experience. That settles it. Now, this particular correction I am about to make requires some level of explanation. So I would want you to be very attentive. Now, words like demand, solicit, advocate, and requests, if they are used as verbs, I repeat, if they are used as verbs, they must not take any preposition. I repeat, if these words are used as verbs, they must not take any preposition. Therefore, expressions like I requests for a loan is wrong. Why? The preposition here is inappropriate. So the correct expression is I request a loan, not I request for a loan. The same thing. Workers demand their salary, not workers demand for their salary. Now, let me give you this very common one. Sometimes when establishments like churches, mosques, or any other establishment, when they need funding, they write a letter. Now, the first sentence of the letter will read Calvary greetings, so. The above named church, the above named establishment solicit for your financial assistance. This is wrong. Solicit as a verb takes no preposition. I solicit your assistance. I demand your assistance. I request your assistance. The government advocates capital punishment. So, in what circumstances can these words be used with prepositions? Very easy. When the words become nouns, when they are used as nouns in their nominal form, then they could take preposition. How do you know when they are used as nouns? There's going to be what we call a determiner most times in front. So when you now have an expression like your requests, this has become a noun because of this determiner. We call this one a possessive determiner. So your request, you can say your request for salary increase has been granted. That is very correct. You can say my request for, my demand for, your demand for. That is still correct. The only thing you cannot say is I demand for. I will say I demand so, or my demand for so has been granted. I believe it is understood. Now, a similarly important discussion I want us to discuss, I want us to look at is the use of these words LOSE, LOST, LOOSE, and LOSS. A lot of times we see people use these words interchangeably, regrettably though. Now, how do we differentiate between these words? Now, LOSE is pronounced lose. Note, this is a sound. It's pronounced lose. And what does it mean? It means fail to possess or fail to own. That is LOSE. So don't lose that money. Don't lose your head. Don't lose your temper. Don't let me lose my mind. LOSE. Fine. LOST is the past form of lose, which means this is a verb, LOSE. This is also a verb in the past tense. So I lost a couple of things. Last year, Nigeria lost a lot of people to banditry and all sorts. So lost is the past form of lose. Now, this is quite interesting. LOOSE is pronounced loose, not z, loose. What does this mean? It means something that is not tight, something that is not tight, something that is not properly cinctured. So you could say somebody has a loose manner. You could say somebody's button is loose. You could say the handle of a door or the handles to the door is loose. So you pronounce this as loose. It is an adjective. Then the last one is loss. It is a noun. It means absence of something. Absence of something. If it has to be with a person, it could be the demise of a person or absence of some. So most times you identify this because of the determiner that it has. So most times when you hear, oh, please accept my sincerest condolences over the loss of your boss. Yes, because of the article there, this becomes loss. So most times when you hear people say something like the loss, God will give you the fortitude to bear the loss. Wrong. God will give you the fortitude to bear the loss. Wrong. So whenever you are referring to loss as a nominal thing, it takes the article right in front of it. Now, similarly, we have expressions like this when something happens, and like what is currently going on in Nigeria as I said now, and you hear people say something like, the situation in Nigeria is now becoming climatic. Sorry, climatic relates to climate. So there's a difference between climatic and climactic. Now, the word climactic is from climax. So when something reaches its peak, like what is currently happening in Nigeria, so the protest has become climactic, or the protests are reaching a climactic stage, not climatic. We can say the whole world is experiencing a climatic change. Climatic from climate, climactic from climax. Similarly, I want us to consider something like when people say something like, the reason why I collected the money is because. The reason why something is because. This is very inappropriate. Why? Very simple. Because answers the question why. Therefore, they are not supposed to be used together in a single sentence. If somebody asks you a question with why, you answer it with because. Therefore, it is inappropriate for a single sentence to have why and because. So let me give you examples now. Okay. The reason why I accepted the loan was because I was broke. This is very wrong. You now say it this way. You could say, the reason I accepted the loan was that. Are you following? The reason I accepted the loan was that I was broke. Or I accepted the loan because I was broke. Don't you ever combine why and because in the same sentence. It is inappropriate. Then finally, I want us to quickly consider what we call cleft sentences. Cleft sentences. Cleft. C-L-E-F-T. Cleft sentences. Now, these are sentences that usually start with it is or it was. So it is very common for people to make mistakes with regard to, let me give you an instance. Two people are having a kind of argument. Mr. A tells Mr. B, you are a very stupid man. Mr. B in his response now says, it is you who is stupid, not me. Let's write it out. It is you who is stupid, not me. Now, how do we correct Mr. B? Very simple. I just told you that a cleft sentence is a sentence that usually starts with it is or it was. Therefore, you know that it is used for emphasis. Let us disregard it is. And the relative connector, which is also for emphasis, let us disregard it. So what you have left is you is stupid, not me. You obviously know that this is wrongly placed. Nobody can ever say you is stupid. So the correct thing should be the appropriate verb that goes with you, the second person pronoun, is are. And here, since you cannot say me is stupid, you can only say I am stupid. So this one will be I. So the correct expression will now be it is you who are stupid, not I. I repeat, it is you who are stupid, not I. Not it is you who is stupid, not me. So be very careful whenever you start a sentence with it is and you have a relative connector who. So all you have to do is just disregard the cleft and the connector. Then you have direct access to the verb. So once you can say you are stupid, then it is you who are stupid. That'll be the end of today's lectures. I urge you to please join us in subsequent editions as we bring up quite a number of other interesting things in English. Until then, stay cool.